Hey guys, it's Elena. Today we're going to be doing a mandala in Procreate, and this was inspired by Jane Proctor, who is a member of our Facebook community, and she's also on Instagram. And I've been super impressed with basically everything that she's ever shared of her artwork. I think it's all just amazing. And you can go and check out her Instagram profile from the link in my description down below. So lately she's been doing these amazing mandalas with the gold trimming around them and the iridescent brushes in the middle. And I've just really enjoyed seeing what she's come up with. So I asked her if she minded if I made a tutorial based on her idea, and she said absolutely no problem. So that's what we're doing today. And so I will be using my Gold Rush brushes for the outline, and then I'll be using my iridescent brushes for the inner pieces. This will be something that you can use, a concept that you can use with a lot of other kinds of textured brushes as well. For instance, if you have my alcohol inks, you could try to make a mandala based on those. You can really use this with anything, and it's kind of meditative to just fill in all the different areas with different colors and different textures. So let's go ahead and get started. So we'll be making a square canvas. I'll just hit this canvas, new canvas here, and I'm gonna make it 3000 by 3000 pixels. And 300 DPI. And if you have an iPad that doesn't have a whole lot of memory, you're not going to have as many layers on here. I'll talk a bit more about that later, but you'll just need to make things more on the same layer if you don't have a lot of layers here. Or you can make the canvas smaller. You can make it larger if you have an iPad that has a lot of memory. So I'm just going to create that. And I will start out with the Monoline brush in Procreate, and that's in the calligraphy folder. And this comes with Procreate, so everyone will have this. And I will select black and start to draw some outlines. And in order to do the outlines, I'm going up to my gear icon, canvas, and where it says drawing guide, I'm going to turn that on. And once that is turned on, I'm able to go to edit drawing guide. That becomes available, so I'm going to hit that. And you have a lot of different options here. This can be a bit overwhelming if you're new to Procreate, so I'm not going to go into all the different options. We're just going to look at the symmetry. So there are different kinds of symmetry. You can see that this one is divided down the middle, so that if you draw on one side, it's mirrored on the other side. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to go into options, and you can choose horizontal, quadrant, or radial. And for mandalas, radial is really fun because you get whatever you draw in one of these areas just gets duplicated everywhere, which is a lot of fun. So we're going to keep rotational symmetry off for now and assisted drawing on. And I'm going to make the opacity and the thickness up all the way, just so that we can see exactly where this grid is. And this is not going to be on the final piece, but it's just there as a guide to help as we are drawing. So with all of that selected, I'm hitting done on here. So now we've got this grid, and the grid that we have applied with assisted drawing is only on this one layer. If we make a new layer, it's not on that layer. So if you want to have this on multiple layers, you do need to apply it on each one individually. So in order to start this out, I'm going to make mine a little bit different than Jane's. I'm going to do less circles and do a bit more of a flower shape. And so I'm going to start here in the middle and just kind of start drawing some different shapes and see where it takes me. Sometimes if you want to try holding your brush on the page, you can also get some interesting shapes coming out. Like this is when I held it on the page, it kind of snapped into this shape. And you can go back to the shape I had drawn before, and I'm actually gonna get rid of all of that and try again. And also you can vary the size of your monoline brush as you're doing this so that you have a couple different weights in here. And whenever we make it gold, you'll see how that looks. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this, and I'm just checking all these little edges here. Some of the lines are kind of a bit wobbly, like you've got some of this here. So I'm gonna take my eraser, like I just did a moment ago, on the airbrushing soft brush, and I'm just gonna go clean up a few of these lines. So now I'm taking my monoline in black one more time, and I'm just going to clean up just a bit more, and then we'll move on. Okay, with that done, I'm going to duplicate this layer, and the background layer, I'm going to turn this into a shadow in just a moment, but we'll leave it blank. We'll just leave it there for now. The top layer, we're going to make it gold. So I'm going to tap it again, and then I'll just go ahead and turn off the drawing assist, tap it again, and alpha lock. So in order to do this, I'm going to switch to my Gold Rush brush set, and I'm going to choose a gold, and I'll choose the color gold as well. This is actually my iridescent color palette here, but this one up here makes a really nice gold. So I'm choosing that, and then I'm just going to find a foil brush from the Gold Rush brush set. So I'm going to go down here to foil fill number 3 and just see how that looks. So because this is on alpha lock, I'm only going to get the gold where I've drawn in black. I think I'm actually gonna go with a glitter instead. So I'm gonna choose number 5 and check that out. Happy with that. Okay, so now I'm going back to the background layer, and I'll tap that one and then tap drawing assist off on that one, and then I will go ahead and go up here to adjustments, Gaussian blur layer, and slide the pencil on the screen just a bit until we start to see a bit of a shadow coming out underneath of this gold. And this is something I've really enjoyed with what Jane has been doing. She's been adding a lot of shadows on top of each other to add a lot of dimension to her work, and I'm really liking it. So I wanted to give it a go. So I think I'm going to leave it at that and then turn it off. Now going up to the arrow, I'm going to move it up here by tapping a few times on the screen. You can see that it starts to shift over to the side. That was a bit too much. Okay, so now we've got a shadow that you can see if you get in a little bit closer. Okay, so now that I've got this gold outline and I've got my shadow in 2 separate layers here, I'm going to make a new layer and bring that down below everything else. And this is a layer where I'm going to draw some colors inside of these shapes. And then on top of that, we're going to be adding some texture. So on this bottom layer, I want the drawing assist on with the same radial area that we made before. So I will tap that layer again and then tap drawing assist. And I've got my iridescent intense color palette here. So I'm going to pick some colors at random and start to color in the areas, and you'll see that they get colored in everywhere else as well. The brush for this is just going to be the Airbrushing Medium brush. I have not figured out a way to select and fill with the drawing assist on, so if you know how to do that, please do let me know in the comments. So I'm just being careful not to go outside of the lines here and just filling it with color. You could also do all of these colors on a different layer if you wanted to. I'm just trying to decide if I actually want to fill this area in. I think I actually might want it to be gold. Or maybe a different kind of gold actually. So for now, I'm just going to make a new layer on that one and then select the gold color. Actually, I'm going to select black so that I could fill it in on top of that. Okay. And I do actually have to turn on drawing assist on here. There we go. Okay, now back to the other layer. I'm just gonna do this one and then that's about it. Okay, so first I'll just go ahead and fill in some more gold on this black one that I made. So up here, I'm going to tap that layer where I drew the black and do alpha lock. Go back to my gold color and back to my Gold Rush brushes. And I wanted to just experiment with a different gold texture here. So I think I will use the foil fill number 3 and see how I like that. Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. Okay. So I'll leave that like so, and now I'm going back to where I've filled in all of my colors. And this is where the fun begins. I'm going to add a new layer over top of it, and I will turn on drawing assist for that layer. And now with the holographic brush set, I'm going to fill in some different textures over top of these colors. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to my original color layer here and select the ribbon tool, which is the select tool, on automatic, and select certain colors at once. So tapping on that color. I've selected that color. You might have to slide a little bit to get more or less inside the selection, and you can see what's been selected when you slide. And so I've got one color selected, and so I'm just going to go ahead and select all the ones that are the same color by tapping them like that. And now I'm going to add a new layer. And so I have all of these areas selected, which means I can't draw outside of that. And I'm going back to the same color that I had drawn in. And then I'm just going to choose different textures and just start to experiment with this. So that was the first layer. Once I'm done with that, I just turn it off here, and then I will just go back to this color layer and select a different color this time. And then making a new layer. If you have limited layers, you could go back to the same layer and do this. I'm just going to make a new layer each time. Again to make another selection. And I think I want to keep it blue, more blue this time, so I'm going to the iridescent brushes instead. The iridescent brushes just have less of a color variation to them. Just forgot a couple of areas, so I'm going back to my color area and going back to the select tool and just selecting the blue areas that I forgot. Back up here. So now I'm just going to stay in the iridescent brushes in order to keep some of these colors still in it. These are such small areas that I'm just going to slide a bit out and bring that threshold, oops, down just a little bit. So I think that I'm okay, happy with that. It's a little bit busy, and if I were to do it again, I might make the gold a bit thicker, the gold lines, or maybe use a little bit less texture on some of the areas. But I'm going to leave it like this for now, and I'm going to turn off my drawing guide just to kind of see how it looks. And I hope that this was helpful. I hope you got some ideas of some things that you can create. And thank you again to Jane for sharing her wonderful talent with us and coming up with these fun ideas. So I will see you next time.